What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I am back with another review of Real Housewives of Potomac. Let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. This is season, 7, episode 12, and the episode is titled Mic Drop. First things first, Karen Huger. I don't know who parked your car for you or if you did it yourself, but your parking was very crooked. Y'all, we saw Karen. She got out the car. She's going to the Improv where she's going to be having her show. And can we be honest about this show? I feel like, yes, Karen thought, ooh, maybe I can find a new way to make money. I can have like a live show. And then she let Matt handle the rest. I honestly feel like, I don't even think it had anything to do with Giselle and Robin, because Giselle and Robin having their show makes sense because they have a podcast. A lot of people have podcasts now. They sometimes do live shows in different cities. Now, as far as Karen's show, it is definitely a variety show, and it is absolutely different than what the other ladies were doing. Even though, we'll get there. That was pretty much that scene. It was good to see Ray. Cool. Y'all, we got this scene with Gordon and Mia. First off, they out here playing like as if they the best parents in the world, reading books to the kids. I said, okay, sure. I don't see y'all being the type of parents that do that every day. We're going to let this rock. Next thing you know, they put the kids to bed, and guess who shows up knocking at the door? Jacqueline. I said, oh, she came over for a nightcap? Did she come over for a nightcap, y'all? So she walks in the door, and they were just talking about how everybody thinks that Gordon is also her man. Now, first off, why did Gordon make everything weird with them sitting down? Like, I don't understand what was happening with that whole situation where Jacqueline decided to sit in the middle between Mia and Gordon. I'm just like, first of all, why is Gordon even here? But then I had to remember that this is about him because everybody's supposed to be dating him. So, of course, they talk about how the girls think that there's more going on between Mia and Jacqueline. And when Jacqueline started explaining how basically she got her Porsche because Gordon and Mia saw that she was going through so much while she was spending so much money going through this divorce that they put down the down payment for her car. Did that make sense to y'all? Like, you're going through a divorce, you're spending a bunch of money, and then you decide to go buy a Porsche? That makes absolutely no sense. Girl, just be honest. Y'all was hooking up. You was doing something with Gordon and Mia so that way, your life can be as good as theirs. Point blank, period. And I keep saying divorce. This girl wasn't even divorcing anybody. She was just having a bad time in a bad relationship. Let's just go ahead and move along. Now, let's go ahead and go on to Messy Ashley and her little powwow that she had with her group of girls. Y'all, Ashley literally invited the messiest person to meet with her friends. And who was that? Giselle. So they're at this dinner or whatever. And one thing that I found interesting, I said, why was all of Ashley's friends at Karen's spring fling party? Like, did Ashley just say, oh, Karen, I have a bunch of cute girlfriends that will love to come, or what? Because it did not make any sense that all of them were there. Nonetheless, they had this conversation of what really went down between Deborah and this Chris situation. Shout out to production, because literally she's going on and on about how, he introduced himself as Chris. And I'm like, well, my husband's name is Chris, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, first of all, the fact that you threw out the fact that you had a husband, like, I don't think he would have continued to hit on you, girl, if he was hitting on you, which he wasn't. Shout out to production, because they showed him looking at his phone when she was like, oh, he was just staring at me, and he wasn't. When she was like, oh, he was saying this and that to me. Guess what? He had a mic pack on so we could hear what he was saying. And girl, you just sat up there and lied and exaggerated a whole story. And of course, you have Giselle just feeding into it, her and Ashley. And then the crazy part is that they decided to throw Eddie in it. Talking about how Eddie, he was always smiling, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing. Eddie has had that same facial expression since we met him. Eddie has been smiling since we met him. Like, for real, for real. Like, I don't understand how we decided we're going to go after Eddie and we're going to go after Chris this season. Like, who decided this? And Ashley, why you bring your friend on here just to embarrass herself? Because at this point, let's be honest, why would Chris or Eddie or any guy on the show decide to flirt with somebody? Number one, both these guys are still mic'd. Secondly, we're filming a TV show. Clearly, there's cameras around. Also, their wives are actually in the building. Like, make that make sense, please. Make it make sense. Now, I will say this. It's funny that out of all the people to bring all this information and drama around, it will be Ashley Darby, considering all the things that happened with Michael Darby and the cameraman. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's go ahead and move along. Okay, so let's go ahead and move along from that situation because now we have Wendy meeting with Eddie. They're with the kids. And I cannot lie, I love seeing this dark-skinned family on TV. Everybody's beautiful. Love to see it, especially little Cameron. Cameron is a cutie pie. Now, this is where we see that Wendy has to confront her husband because she previously talked to Ashley and Ashley told her how, Eddie was kind of really smiley and flirting with Deborah and all her friends saw this. And baby, Wendy is not fazed by Ashley or her friends. So when she tells Eddie what's going on, Eddie's like, so I can't smile anymore. Let me not smile because someone's going to think that I'm flirting with them. And I will say I did like Wendy's confessional when she was like, look at me. Eddie basically ain't going nowhere. Which I'm like, you know what? You better have that confidence, Wendy. I love to see it. Y'all, that was pretty much that scene. I want to move on to this scene with Giselle, Robin, and Mia. Because first of all, I don't understand why they went to this restaurant or whatever and they acted like they did not know how to order food. It was very strange because they were like, they don't come to the table. Like, did you not see the type of place that you walked into? I would have walked in there and thought that I had to go to the counter and order myself. Like, get a clue. Nonetheless, Mia, you're telling too much of your child's business on the internet. I'm sorry, not the internet, on TV. Mia, you told too much of your child's business. Same did Robin. I don't want to know about your children. Let's move along. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation. Mia is definitely feeling some type of way because she's finding out that Karen decided to tell Messy Giselle, and Messy Giselle's whole Robin, that Mia and Jacqueline have a very interesting relationship, especially when it comes to Mia deciding she wanted to be pretend doctor. Okay, if you know what I'm saying. And now she wants to low-key retaliate and be like, oh, well, I know why Karen doesn't like Charisse, blah, 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 but she didn't spill the tea on what the reason was. And then, of course, we start talking about Peter and his girlfriend. And this is where Mia, she decides to tell us that basically she hooked up with this girl or whatever way back in the day before she was Peter's girlfriend, supposedly. I have no proof of that. And then she ended up getting the days mixed up of when her and Gordon had like hooked up with this girl. Supposedly it was during the bachelor party. Because I'm like, well, why'd you crash that? Secondly, she also was like, it was on the wedding night. So I'm like, was it on the wedding night or at the bachelor party? Like, make it make sense, please. Please make it make sense. I'm sorry, but I just don't believe anything that Mia has to say. I just think she's a liar. I think that she probably hooked up with this girl multiple times. Who knows? Again, because Mia is a liar. Like, girl, you can't figure out when this happened. And also for you to say this girl was singing in your wedding while you were walking down the aisle. And she was also a bridesmaid. Like, this is just a lot. Like, I feel like Mia just be making stuff up so that her storyline sound juicier than what her life really is. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and move along because we need to go ahead and get to Karen's show. So Karen's show, I will say, she got a really good venue because it looked like it was a lot of people in there. Now, when it comes to the actual show, here's what I realized with Karen. Karen's idea was actually pretty smart, but the girls were haters. Because, number one, Karen is a housewife. Of course, she has her quick comebacks or whatever. She says slick things and throws shade. And she has, like, a fragrance line. Like, I don't understand why Giselle was trying to throw so much shade, because it's not like Karen is known for being a talker, to give advice, to do any of those things. So what were you expecting out of this show? I think that it was very smart, especially during Pride Month, for her to add a bunch of other people who had talent to the show. Like, she had a comedian. People love comedians as long as they're funny. And then also she had Jasmine Masters, who has her own following. I thought it was smart. So even though the girls didn't understand, I get it. So like I said, you had Jasmine Masters, you had a comedian, I missed that person's name, and of course you had Karen Huger. Now, Karen did not do as much as I thought she was going to be doing, but again, like I said, she's not like this talker that's going to get up there and give you like advice and motivational speakers. Like, her little sizzle topics, they ask questions around the room, that was cute and all, but that's at most of what I thought Karen would be giving anyways. So I don't know what the girls were expecting. Like, I'm so confused as to why they thought that Karen was about to be a one-woman show who was going to do acting, comedy. She was going to drop a CD while she was out there. Maybe, spit some bars. I don't know what the girls were expecting from Karen. Did y'all think she was going to bust out and dance and do like a bring it routine? What did y'all think that Karen Huger, at the big age of, 60, was going to be out there doing? Make it make sense. Oh, see, I almost forgot about the messiness that Charisse was stirring up, y'all. So the girls are at the table, and we find out that there was a video of Mia and the Grand Dame, and there was a little nip slip happening, actually, for both of them, because both of their boobs were like poking out of their dresses. I don't know what was happening there. I'm just like, oh, okay. So Charisse drops that video in the group or whatever, and of course the Grand Dame does not mess with her. So what did she do? Not invite her to her show. And I thought that was hilarious because all the girls were like, oh, well, could she come as like a +1 to somebody? No, I already brought a +1. Everybody brought a +1. I said, you know what, Charisse, they just don't like you like that. I think it's crazy that nobody brought Charisse, because who was Giselle's +1? Who was Robin's +1? Because this show wasn't Juan. Who did Ashley bring? Oh, right. Ashley brought Deborah. How could I forget? Side note, I think it's really cute that Karen calls her supporters La Dames. That name is actually cute, because when she asked Robin, do you have any Robins? I said, she don't. She ain't got no birds following her. All right, let's go ahead and move along, because I really want to get into this confrontation, I guess you could call it that, of Candace and Deborah. So at one point, Robin is actually the one who tells Candace that, oh, this is the girl who Chris was supposedly flirting with. Baby, I feel like she looked over there and was like, ain't no way he gonna pass up on me to be with Deborah. I'm just saying, her facial expression said it all. So let me go ahead and talk about how Ashley was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even introduced Deborah and Candace. Girl, stop playing with us. So she tries to introduce them, and Candace jumps right to it like, oh, so this is your friend who Chris was, grabbing on? And she's like, no, not grabbing on, but heavily flirting. Again, this woman is lying. And Candace is like, okay, so what did he say? Here goes Deborah with her entire spiel about how he introduced himself as Chris, and then my husband's name is Chris, and blah, 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 blah. So then Candace is just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. So then Deborah's like, he had googly eyes for other people and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So now you're trying to tell me that not only he was trying to get at you, he was trying to get at your homegirls too? Chris was a busybody, y'all. Chris was out here putting in a full day's work, trying to not only avoid being seen on camera, avoid being heard on a microphone, and he's doing all this, and being able to flirt with multiple women. The man is a multitasker. Oh, and let me not even forget the rating system that Mia decided to come up with, talking about some Wendy and Candace are 8 plus, and Deborah was like a 4. I'm just like, whoa, I take it as you do not want to be friends with Ashley's friends, do you? Like, that is shady. But let me jump back to Ashley real quick, because she literally at the end of the show, everybody about to pack up, go home. She's like, oh, Candace, I know you had like some weird feeling about my friend, blah, blah, blah. Before she could even finish her statement, Candace was like, no. Because one thing Candace was not about to do is further this conversation with Ashley or Deborah. And then for Ashley to try to stir the pot yet again, because she is trying to get some camera time for Deborah, and for Candace to sit up here and of course act out of character and become the girl who's aggressive and yelling and all that stuff. She's like, why are you dismissing my friend, blah blah blah. First of all, if Deborah really wanted to have a conversation with her, she should have first off said like, hey, can I speak to you one-on-one or something? Come on now, let's make it make sense. But no, y'all had that whole conversation at the table in front of everybody, number one. And secondly, Candace can see through the foolishness. She ain't about to sit with this girl. And then for Deborah to come circling back to be like, do you want to come chat with me? Girl, no. Candace is ready to leave because she ain't talking to that Sesame Street character, okay? Baby, when she went into the full... That woman is a Sesame Street character. And for her to go read a book to a child, I hollered. I said, you know what? Candace may be the queen of the reads when it comes to the Real Housewives franchise, okay? Baby girl has reads for days. And that is where we left off. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. How y'all feel about Candace not giving in to the shenanigans that Ashley and Giselle were trying to cook up? You know what I'm saying? And what do y'all think about Karen's show? Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.